Ladies and gentlemen, a Thursday night edition, catching up with an old friend. I called this a playoff preview, but I also just wanted to touch base with OC Shawn Cooley, who kind of went on the journey with you early in the year through a lot of the ups and downs of the year. Welcome aboard, Coach Cooley.
Appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure to join the podcast. I appreciate it.
You know, first off, I want to hit on this year, and first thing I wrote down that I wanted to ask you was, what was it like moving to Hixson for you this year? First year at Hixson, but I think a very positive year for your coaching career.
Yeah, it's been it was always a smooth transition. Just to start off with, very smooth transition. Got along with the coaches, great. Kind of built a really easy connection with those guys and really easy connection with the kids. So it made it really easy, probably one of the easiest in my career because I've moved around a couple different times. So it's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed working with these guys, working with the kids. It's been a special year so far.
Anybody meets Coach Rivers loves him instantly. I was talking to Coach Barger over at Easter's the other day about Coach Rivers, and I run into very few people that have bad things to say about Nick Rivers, the coach or the man.
Yeah, great man, great guy to work for. We're a lot alike in a lot of different ways, and maybe we have different personalities, obviously, but I think one thing that me and him share is a like mindset. We work extremely hard, both of us. So we kind of hit it off pretty quick.
Yeah, I got to actually come to see y'all play a couple of times this year. It was a big thrill for me. I got one question. We'll start. That's not football related. How was Knox's trick or treat, Coach?
Well, he's been battling a little bit of a bug, so we didn't get to take him out and trick or treat too much. So we had a couple of our neighbors. They kind of brought him some candy over, and of course he dug into that and enjoyed that. So and it maybe next year when he gets a little older, we can take him out.
That's perfect.
Get him out and do that deal. But this year's he's still a little young for it, and he wasn't feeling too good, so we didn't want to get him out.
Well, my daughter's 8th grade, and she went out, and every time she goes out, every year she goes out, I think this is the last time that she'll want to go. But I think nowadays they just like getting dressed up and going out, so it's all right. Coach, let's start back at the Jamboree. I think you were so set on offense, and you had your first and second team quarterback and all revved up, ready to go. And you were lucky you had an experienced quarterback on your roster who would sit in the second spot. But that didn't last very long, as you had to call Chase back from middle linebacker to play quarterback after an unfortunate broken ankle.
Yeah, Luke Finch had worked for us and been really good throughout the entire preseason and the summer, and he did a really good job for us. But things happen, football injuries happen. It happens all the time, right? So he breaks his ankle in the Jamboree, and it's actually the last 3 or 4 minutes of the whole Jamboree. So it was kind of unfortunate there, and Chase had actually taken 0 snaps at quarterback, the whole spring or summer, because we had him at H-back. He's working a little H-back.
Right.
Which is like a hybrid tight end for us, and then he's playing linebacker on defense. So we ended up the following week, which was week 1, he ended up taking his first snaps of the whole year at quarterback. So he got ready extremely fast, and that's just kind of, you said the veteran quarterback. That's just kind of a veteran football player being able to comprehend everything in a week's time and go out and perform really good. I think the first game we played against, of course, we lost the game, but he set a career record for passing yards in that game. He threw for 200 yards in his first game with us, and the next week he threw for 236. So he's done a phenomenal job for us, Chase has, and just been a really good leader. And if we needed to throw it, he's thrown it. If we didn't need to throw it, we ran the ball well, and he hadn't thrown it much. Just whatever we need out of him, he'll do, and he's willing to do. So that was huge for us, is just to have Chase on the roster and have that experience.
I was talking to a couple of media types, and they were asking me who I thought, all city players, all county kind of players were. And I included Chase on my list just because of its unselfish nature and the fact that middle linebacker to quarterback and middle linebacker, unless Chase, that was something he was looking forward to being, is just a full-time down the hill middle linebacker.
Right. And he's done a good job on defense. And a lot of people don't know, because we hadn't really put all kinds of stats out there, but
There it goes. My mic went out temporarily. Stay with me, Coach.
I got you.
Some of Chase's success is linked to that wide receiver group that you did have.
Yeah, absolutely. A kid that who this is only second year playing football. His name's Tarek Reese. Number 6 for us. He's been a very explosive playmaker for us whenever he's been on the field, and we've had a lot of injury situations this year, and not we've only had 2 games where we've had all of our skill kids in the football game 100% healthy. So we only played 2 football games with our starting receivers and tailback end. And that was the Saudi Daisy game and the Sequoia game. Tarek actually missed 3 games with a concussion. He got a concussion at Meigs County, and didn't play for 3 weeks after, because it was pretty bad one. But he's a kid who's good for 100 yards receiving a game. Like his first 4 games that he played in, he went for over 100 yards receiving. He's a kid that can just take a short pass, take it. I mean, he can take it a distance, or he can get by you and stretch the field and burn you. He's a burner. Ron Suttle's done a good job for us this year. Lawan Hughley's done a really, really good job of being consistent and just kind of being that slot receiver that we could rely on. He's played every game and done a phenomenal job. And Tremel Davis has stepped up. Isaac stepped up and then done a good job for us. And all right. But if he's not, we had enough grit about us to get a win without him last week. So we had some guys step up, some young kids. AD Stewart stepped up, and he really, really was our MVP of East Ridge game. He come in the second half, sophomore, come in, and he ran for 70 yards in 2 series. So he really ran the ball really well for us, took care of the ball. That was good to see. So we kind of had to change our identity a little bit, because without Coco in, teams were kind of playing to stop our receivers. They were playing to stop Tarek, and I don't blame them. That's probably would have done the same thing. Yeah. So it was a little harder to throw the ball, to get the ball to those kids. So we had to figure out a way to get a win there.
Coach, we would be remiss if we didn't jump to the other side of the football. And I know you're the OC, but Coach Rivers kind of runs that defensive side of it. But I thought that defense grew so much during the year. And some of the play just got to be like, this defense has took the step to elite.
Yeah, especially, you're talking our first 2 weeks, we gave up I mean, about as many points as we gave up the rest of the year.
Yeah.
In those first 2 weeks. I mean, you're looking at those 2 weeks combined. I mean, you know, and there's a lot of growing up that had to be done for some kids that were playing for the first time. You know, a lot of different things were happening there, but coach has done a good job of coaching them up and getting them to play sound defense, and they just needed to have some success, and they kind of fed off that. You know, week 3 we played against Whitwell, and they played really well, and they kind of fed off that ever since. But they've done a really good job, and you know, there's some times that we've kind of bent, but didn't break, and that's kind of what we needed. So I mean, and it doesn't hurt to have Isaac on the kickoff, put it in the end zone every time, and make a high school offense drive the ball 80 yards every time.
Yeah,
so that was a lot.
You know, I wouldn't. I talk about Isaac so much. Of course, he's my neighbor up the hill from me for a while, and I love Isaac. He's a great kid, but he really can change a football game with his leg, and that's a special talent. And you said it when Isaac. Uh, Sorry, everybody. Mike's keeps jumping in and out on me, but we'll get through this. Um, First of all, the going back to Chase and Coco and Isaac that's appeared here, uh, you know, class, good, young, yes sir, no sir, kids. But a couple of them mentioned Ottawa to me during the year, and I think Ottawa was kind of that confidence boost that you were looking for after a rough start. But your start also was against 2 pretty good football teams.
Sure, yeah, sure. And I think Ottawa was kind of the point where the kids realized that, you know, we could be a pretty good football team if we put it together. And we didn't play very well the first half of Ottawa, but the thing that did it for us, I think, was how we won the game. Is we got down, which we had the previous 2 weeks. We got down, and we didn't, you know, obviously didn't score first. They scored, and our kids fought back, and you know, fought through the adversity, and ended up winning the football game. And at the end of the game, we ran the ball very, very well, and there were some hits that Coco and Chase were laying on some folks running the ball that got everybody excited, and our offensive line got lathered up, and they were feeling it, and it's kind of how we won that game, and it kind of brought a different attitude as opposed to the first 2 games. There was a different kind of attitude about how we won that game, and you know, they just needed a taste of win, and they did, and they kind of, you know, took off running with it for a while, and before we ultimately got beat by Red Bank, but had a pretty good little run there,
yes,
a little win streak. So that was definitely our turning point as far as the kids' belief in themselves.
You know, and I think in my message to them today, I was telling them, you know, how the image of Hixson football has changed. And I think a lot of this year image changing, and I know caught the eyes of the media side of it was you going up to Loudon and beating a very good Loudon football team.
Sure, and that was a huge win for us at the time. Loudon, I think, was ranked top 10 in the state. I mean, if not top 10, they were close. You may recall that. I think they were 9 or 10.
I think they were 9, to be honest, Coach. I think I remember that.
They were definitely undefeated in the region, and they only played 1 close game with anybody, and they kind of blew everybody else out. And we went up there, and we figured it. We just found a way to get it done. I mean, that's kind of I don't know. It's kind of the recipe for us all year was find a way to do it. It wasn't the offense being elite every game. It wasn't the defense being elite every game. We won games on special teams. We won games with defense, and we won games with offense. And I'm a believer in good teams find a way to win. And that's when I realized, and our kids realized, that we could be a great football team. We're still striving to be that, obviously. But we realized that night that we could play with anybody. And to go up to Loudon and do that was a special night for us.
Coach, and that do anything, somehow pull it out mentality. I think in week 10, I've made the statement to a couple of people, the story of Eastridge going 0-5 and then winning 4 straight before playing Hixson was as good as any, and that's a good football team. And that's a good way to go into the playoffs with that W.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same way we won that football game, just to be honest with you. Eastridge outplayed us, outcoached us at some points in the first half, and they were, they were playing very well, and we were not playing our brand of football in that first half. And had a lot of penalties, had a lot of things that we didn't do well, especially offensively. But, in that second half, kind of, made a couple adjustments at halftime. And our second drive, I think, on offense, we kind of started getting rolling there, running the football and kind of kept it away from them on offense for a good lengthy bit and scored, and then kind of put the pressure back on them, and was fortunate enough that they made a mistake, and they fumbled the ball, we scooped and scored and went up 17-14, and then our defense kind of kept them out. They went, I think they went 4 and out down there near the red zone. They threw a ball in the fourth down to the end zone, and we broke it up and took 2 knees, and we were out of there.
That was a big win heading into playoffs. Let's jump ahead to the playoffs. You open up with a team in your career that was across town from you while you were at Cumberland County in Stone Memorial. Is it a team that you have some familiarity with?
Yeah, I know their head coach pretty well. Got a lot of respect for Coach Samber up there. He does a good job, and he always has them playing hard. And we played them last year, and I've seen them a couple times over the course of my career. They're well coached. They play physical. They're gonna put some stress on you, and they're a good football team. It's going to take us playing our brand of football to come out of it with a win. Our kids know that. They played them last year as well. I got a lot of respect for them, and just looking forward to it really tomorrow night.
Coach, not to get into the details of it, if my calculations are right, you're probably as healthy as you've been and eligible as
It kind of out of necessity. You got to build depth. Next man up, they got to play. So the good thing about us is, we get some kids back now, and we'll be at almost nearly full strength. I feel very, very comfortable with that, especially offensively. I feel a lot better about it than I had the past couple weeks. But even if something were to happen in the game, we've got guys who are ready to play, and they've kind of been battle tested a little bit the past 2 weeks, and kind of know the ropes. It's never been knowing what to do in the offense. It's just being about having the experience to go do it. So I think now they've got a good mix of being healthy and a good mix of having some experience and some depth.
And Coach, I think you found, unfortunately, through some of those injuries, I think you found maybe the future of the team a little bit at tailback and in a couple of spaces that I don't know if you knew week 1, but now you've got to have a little more confidence going into these games with maybe, trying to limit maybe a few carries off of Coco or or getting to the passing game more involved?
Right. Well, we know these kids' capabilities. We see them every day. We know their potential. But it's one thing to do it in practice. It's another thing to go do it in the game.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So we had some kids kind of step up and go do that, and young kids. And I mean, we've got a lot of young kids playing regardless. We don't have a whole lot of very many seniors that are playing for us. I mean, we got a bigger junior and sophomore class than we do senior class, and we got a lot of those sophomores and juniors playing significant roles for us. And so, I mean, that I feel very good about that for the previous year, for the years to come.
Coach, speaking of one of those seniors, I was there when on one night when Luke Newcomb, who is another young man I know, got an interception and a touchdown, and I think that's as explosive as I've seen the sidelines all year.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when a defensive lineman scores, everybody gets excited because nobody expects them to score a touchdown. And we've had 3 or 4 score this year. It's been kind of crazy to me that see we had 2 scooping scores, and we had that interception off the deflected ball. It was pretty really cool to see. And I was excited for Luke. He deserves something like that. That was really cool to see.
Another great kid, a great young man. I shouldn't call them kids; they're young men. So, Coach, for a fan, not really anybody in the coaching profession, what's it like knowing starting this week, win, and you got another week of practice, lose, and it's not. It's a real do or die situation for the staff and the players, and you really can't let that get into your thought pattern, though. You just got to get ready to play football.
Right, and that's one thing for us is we've not tried to beat a dead horse. The kids know they know what's here. I mean, they know, so we go as business as usual, and but don't we remind them, don't be mistaken. I mean, we want to be practicing next week. We want to be out here. We want to be working next week. So it's nothing really changed in our preparation. It's just trying to be the best version of yourself each day. So that's kind of what we kind of stuck with, and we haven't beat a dead horse about it. They know.
And Coach, Thursday's a unique day, and I don't think most non-fans would realize what your practice is like on Thursday. It's really a goal to get the kids off their feet and get them some rest too.
Right. So yeah, we just have a quick walkthrough of all the different situations that we could face on a Friday night, and we don't spend we don't keep them out there 3 hours. We want to get in there, make sure they're sharp, make sure the plan, everybody knows the plan, offense, defense, special teams, make sure everybody's good, make sure everybody's accounted for. And especially at this time of year, week 11, I mean, the kids either know it or they don't, right? So we get them through pretty quick, and we get them out.
Coach, we were talking about the picture that when you see the podcast, the cover that I have up while we're talking behind it is a one that was sent to me by Isaac's dad. Actually, it's a shot of the field, the seniors' numbers on the side, but we were talking about how we both love seeing the brownness of the grass. It really does mean something.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking before. Dead grass, I love it. I love it in the football field because that means you're playing for something real. So wouldn't trade anything for it. I wouldn't want it to be green. I like it dead. That means something real's coming. So, and our kids know that, and they're prepared. We're ready to go.
Well, 70% of the teams in the state right now would be like to be prepping for a home playoff game.
Right.
What does it mean having this game at home?
It's a huge deal for us. I think it's been roughly 10 years since Hixson's had a home playoff game. So we're trying to get the kids to sink it in and realize the opportunities that they have. Because, like you said, 70% of the schools are not having that. So it's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for the community. Everybody's excited at school. Everybody's ready to go. So I can't tell you how many times that I've heard, "You ready to go Friday?" from admin, from other teachers, from kids. And, it's pretty cool.
One thing I was going to ask you about, you kind of touched on that. I've seen the school spirit revived at Hixson High School,
Yeah.
and a lot of that is due to this senior and junior class and their legacy, really, of bringing football back to Hixson High School.
Yeah, they definitely. The seniors, the juniors, they've changed the identity of Hixson football for years. It's been kind of a doormat. I mean, let's just be honest. It's just been a doormat for whatever reason. I mean, just whatever reasons it's been that way. They've changed the identity and the focus, and everybody talks about Hixson in a different way now. So that's kudos to them, and that's they're the reason why people are talking about Hixson in a different light.
And it is. So when my daughter was picking where she would go to high school and middle school at, we actually had to talk 3 years ago about, well, you can go to Hixson, but there's not much of an athletic program. You can't say that anymore. And I think the junior high, middle school had a great season. It's kind of infectious now that this school now is kind of took fire as a little bit of a football hotbed.
Right, and that's something that, I mean, again, it's a tribute to our kids and their work ethic. I mean, they bought in, from day one. Since I got there in the spring, from day one they bought in. They were doing whatever we asked them to do, and you can kind of see it play out, kind of before your eyes here, and rolling into 7-3 and best season in 10 years or so, and. We're not looking to just have a one season thing. We're building a program, not just a season. So it's definitely good to see.
Coach, I'll let you get off here in a minute. I got a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up. I appreciate your time, but
yeah, absolutely.
I want to get into you as a play caller in this environment. When you go to make your sheet, do you start narrowing it down this time of the year and you know what your team does well, and now you're in the playoffs and you've got 10 games under your belt and you've got your call sheet, or might you throw a little wrinkle in that it's not on film?
So from week to week, and I mean, I think a lot of play callers do this. We have our base, our bread and butter plays that we practice since the first day that I got there, and week to week, just based on the team that we play, I'll add probably 3 or 4 wrinkles, off of our pass game, run game, whatever, like we can kind of take advantage of. So that's no different for this week. I mean, we got some stuff kind of prepared there, and for me, calling plays, it's all about doing the best job you can as a team and putting them in the best position, right? So definitely going to run our best plays. Even if it's a team that's to run those plays, I still run those plays because that gives us the best chance to win. So
right.
We find ways to dress them up differently. We might get in a different formation, we might have a different motion, but we'll still run those plays with some wrinkles attached.
Coach, that's actually a question I had for you. And in watching your offense live, you're able to block things, same play, but you might block it 2 different ways, correct?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we can do a lot of different things just kind of based on our personnel up front and our kids in the backfield. We can make the same play look probably, 4 or 5 different ways. We can make it look different. It looks like a different play, but it's really the same. Keeping it the same for the guys up front is huge. Like our kids in the backfield are good enough athletes to do some different stuff, motions and stuff like that to make it look a lot different. But keeping it the same for our guys up front, so they don't have to think, they can just go play and block somebody. That's the key for us.
And that's also one of the key to your ear is when that offensive line is firing out, playing well, that team, that really drives your offense and what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, the games are won and lost right there. In the line of scrimmage, that's where they're won and lost. So when we're playing good up front, we're tough to beat.
Coach, shout out that front offensive line if you've got just a second, because they don't get near the credit they deserve.
Yeah, so center Chase Packer, we've actually moved him from guard to center this year. I think probably week 3, I think is when everything changed, and Diesel was playing center for us, and we just kind of felt like he might be better suited at guard, so we flipped in, from guard and center. So we flipped their responsibilities. They're doing a great job. Richard Byrns played left tackle for us. Done a good job this year. Jay Moss, Javarian Moss, he's our right guard. He's done a really good job. He's a sophomore, paired up with another sophomore right tackle, and Malachi. Malachi's done a fantastic job for us. He's really probably improved as much as anybody on our football team. And then we got Elijah Heath. He's kind of been our swing man. He'll play guard, tackle, whatever we need him to play. He's another sophomore. He's played a lot for us. So we've actually had 3 sophomores that have started on the offensive line this year and done a really good job for us.
That change, it's not ironic in my head. You make that change, and your team's been week 3, and then all of a sudden the team goes on a 6-game winning streak, and there's a lot of things that can do with Jeff at guard you couldn't at center too.
Yeah, he moves really well, and a lot of teams don't pull the center much, and we've actually pulled Chase at center a little bit this year. Not a whole lot, but we have just like a wrinkle, like we were just talking about a second ago. But Diesel's really good, and whenever we pull him, so in our counter and power plays, he does a really good job.
Yeah, that's one of the things that live or on a huddle film I'm really impressed is how you're able to get that offensive lineman in front of the back. Y'all are really creative with the different looks. Coach, one more question, and then we'll get you out of here. And when you win this week, possibility you could rematch with East Ridge, or I believe it's Upperman on the other side of that region. Come back and visit with us again, because we'd like to keep this going through the playoffs.
Oh yes, sir, absolutely.
Coach, tell everybody why they get out and come to Hixson this Friday night and watch this game, and how big is this for this community to have playoff football in it?
Well, it's a huge deal for the community. Like I said a second ago, it hadn't happened in 10 years. A playoff game being hosted at Hixson, so that's your reason to get out and support these kids, is they've done something that hadn't happened in a decade. I mean, 10 years to me and you now, I'm getting older. It doesn't seem like a long time, but it's to host a playoff game. That's a pretty long time. So get out and support these kids. They've had a special season, and we want to make it even more special. We can't do that without the community support. So they're a big reason why we've been winning these games as well.
Coach, it's ironic that I had wrote down a decade of classes football players never played at home in a high school football playoff. And then you almost say the exact same thing. It is a salute to this senior class to have this first.
Phenomenal group of kids. We're excited about them, excited about the opportunity that presents us tomorrow.
Coach, I appreciate your time, and get after them. And if there's ever anything you need, let me know. And hopefully, we will be talking this time next week about your second round matchup.
Yes, sir. I appreciate everything you do for our sport.
Yes, Coach Cooley. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone, Coach Cooley, of course, making some time for us, and we appreciate him. Personal plea from Randall Cunningham. Coach Cooley just left us. Get out and support this football team. Get out and support this community. Coach Cooley, we talk a lot about Coach Rivers, but Coach Cooley is a great young coach and a friend of mine. Coach Rivers, great young coach, a friend of mine. The players on this team, Isaac Smith, Coco Kendricks, Chase Barnard, or a Diesel at right guard, great young men. Get out Friday night. It's not from Coach, it's from me. Get out, please, and support this football team. You're listening to River City Media playoff preview. The Hixson Wildcats. Been a while since we said that one. At home, Friday night against Stone Memorial. Thank you and good night.